star has arrived on the stage of international show jumping.
Good morning and welcome to the International Ring at Spruce Meadows, a very quiet international ring for the first weekend of July, where normally there'd be tens of thousands of people and thousands of horses on the grounds here celebrating the Spruce Meadows North American and the final weekend of the Spruce Meadows Summer Series. Circumstances are such that the organizing committee at Spruce Meadows has chosen to bring you the Spruce Meadows tournaments at home this year as our COVID-19 crisis continues. Today we look forward to visiting one of the flagship tournaments of the Spruce Meadows season, the Spruce Meadows North American. It's a tournament that started way back in 1977 as the Spruce Meadows Junior, a tournament designed only for ponies, horses, and junior riders. But over the years, the trainers and the open riders spawned such demand that it eventually turned into the Invitational and then ultimately the Spruce Meadows North American Tournament. And today we look forward to opening the vaults and showing you some of the great moments over the last 45 years that have unfolded through the evolution of this tournament, and then also leaving the ring and showing you the great military traditions that have been so much part and parcel of the Spruce Meadows North American, of course all centered around the Queen Elizabeth II Cup. We'll take the opportunity also to meet the foals in our annual Name the Foal competition, which has spawned thousands of entries from across the country already. The foals are enjoying the lazy days of summer here at Spruce Meadows, but with no fans to see them in the stadium daily. And then there's the competitions. And what a great array of competitions we have been treated to through the decades here in the International Ring at Spruce Meadows during the North American. We'll bring you some of those most memorable moments, as well as some competitions in full as we enjoy the Spruce Meadows North American at home. We'll also take a little time to visit the Spruce Meadows shop, which has been going like gangbusters through its online services through this COVID-19 pandemic. And before we get to all that, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce you to Spruce Meadows President and CEO, Linda Southern Heathcott. Linda remembers competing here when it was the Spruce Meadows Junior, all the way up to competing through the Chrysler Classic Derby and, of course, the Queen Elizabeth II Cup. Here's the President and CEO of Spruce Meadows, Linda Southern Heathcott.
Good morning. I'm Linda Southern Heathcott, and welcome to our Spruce Meadows North American Virtual Tournament. We're all very sorry we can't be together, but in these trying times of the global pandemic, this is our way to reach out to each and every one of you and to bring you some wonderful memories of the North American Tournament. It originally started as a junior tournament, and then it evolved into including seniors, and then it's really become one of our top CSI 5-star international events. With the Queen Elizabeth II Cup, a fabulous event, as well as one of our founding derbies. I hope you enjoy.
From the very beginning, Spruce Meadows co-founders Ron and Marg Southern knew that if this venue was going to be successful and more than regional, it had to attract international athletes of the highest caliber. And from the very start, there is a name that has been synonymous with success at Spruce Meadows, and that belongs to the Thomas family. Butch Thomas from New Zealand was one of the first international riders to compete here in 1976, and his wife Lou from the United States was the best hunter rider this part of the world had ever seen. They have been with the Spruce Meadows story since the very beginning. Guy Thomas starting in the pony division with a pony I remember named Karuba Gold, and then going on to represent New Zealand in the Olympic Games. The Thomases have been an amazing part of a very special recipe here at Spruce Meadows. Today we're going to look back on one of Lou's great wins on this 4th of July in the American Airlines Connection. But first, let's get up close and meet the Thomas family from Woodside, California.
Graham Thomas on Hickory Hill. And Graham is a former New Zealander He was captain of the New Zealand team, as a matter of fact, and he now is a professional rider in California.
We started coming here in '75 when the show started, and my husband was showing and doing the jumpers, and I was doing the hunters, and we had a wonderful time. A lot of fond memories in the hunter ring. I had some wonderful hunters that I won with, and it was great because Butch was showing also, and we were quite a pair. We used to have a good time. We still do. Well, Guy started here when he was 8. He won the Pony Porsche Grand Prix in the International Ring on a little pony called Karuba Gold, and it's been great seeing him grow up. It makes me more nervous watching him than riding myself, but he's a good kid.
Well, when she's going, I just want her to do as best she can, and you know, when she gets in the lead, I want to try to, I wouldn't say jinx everybody, but I want them to kind of mess up so she can win. But she tries 100% all the time.
We've got a pretty unique situation. We're the best of friends, and I don't know, our horses are our friends, and we don't put it as a trainer-rider situation. We kind of talk things out. Everybody has a say-so, and go from there.
Butch is my main man. I don't go to a show without him. He's my supporter, my ground man, tells me what to do, and we're a good team.
She's always there to tell me what other competitors have done and where I can beat them, and she helps a lot. My favorite memory of here was my first time in the international ring when I won the Pony Porsche Grand Prix. It was really neat because it was the first time I'd ever ridden in front of so many people, and it was just a great experience because they hype everything up here so well. It was a lot of fun.
Probably watching Guy in the Pony Porsche Grand Prix. That little one was pretty excited.
The best thing that we've ever done was go to the World Cup finals this year, not ever thinking we were going to qualify. We only did 4 qualifiers, and she ended up qualifying unbeknownst to anybody, really, and had a terrific trip there, and has just gone from strength to strength ever since we got back.
To rise above the crowd, above the clouds, to buckle in and pilot 1,400 pounds of muscle and grace to its ultimate destination, the Victory Circle. Through 10 demanding days, North America's top guns have been competing at show jumping's highest level at the Spruce Meadows North American Show Jumping Championship. Their goal, their dream, to earn an invitation to North America Show Jumping's Super Sunday. The final day of the Spruce Meadows North American is a no-holds-barred battle, a test of talent, a test of courage, a test of championship will. 20 have made the cut, earned a takeoff position to try and arrive at the ultimate destination in international show jumping, the Victory Circle at Spruce Meadows. The question is simple: who will rise to the task at hand? There's something special in the air. The American Airlines Connection. For the last 10 days, some of North America's best horse rider combinations have been competing for a coveted takeoff position in today's American Airlines Connection. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows. I'm Ian Allison, joined by Canadian Olympic team member Linda Southern Heathcott. And Linda, it's been very difficult just to get to today's competition, and the course itself looks like it's difficult in its own right.
Absolutely, Ian. You know, they've had to qualify to get to this point. They're only allowed to take the top 20 competitors, and so the field is very strong. Dave Ballard, the course designer, has built a very tough course, in my opinion. He's asking for a lot of scope, which means that the horses have to jump big and wide jumps early. And then he's asking for the riders to still have control at the end of the course to be able to jump the jumps careful.
It's been important to manage your horsepower throughout the North American Championships, and a prime example of that has been Lou Thomas from Burson, California, with her thoroughbred Native Code.
He's a lovely horse, and Lou is a beautiful rider. She is very accurate. She sits still on the horse and lets the horse jump his best. She's done really well this week. She was second in one competition, and she was, I think, 8th in the Queen's Cup yesterday.
She's a great story, Lou Thomas. It was 20 years ago she came to Spruce Meadows when this was nothing more than a cattle feedlot, and she was the first ever hunter champion here. Since then, she's gone on to greatness in the Grand Prix ring. She's getting ready for today's competition, and she's standing by in the international ring with our colleague, Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
I'm with one of my favorite competitors here for the American Airlines Connection, Lou Thomas. Lou, you have a great horse, Native Code. Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Yes, he's a 9-year-old thoroughbred that my husband bought as a yearling to run, and he wouldn't go in company. He always would shy when horses would come against him on the rail. So we took him home, and one of our customers bought him as a 3-year-old, and she's had him ever since. And we've been able to do everything that we've wanted to do with him. She's been great.
And it is a great horse. And Lou, I wish you the best of luck for today's competition.
Thank you, Pollyanna.
Lou Thomas, a very interesting story and an admirable story in international show jumping. She's brought this young thoroughbred Native Code from the racetrack to the very top of the sport under the guidance of her coach and mentor and husband, Graham Butch Thomas.
Which I know at times can be difficult, but they are a great team, and Butch is one thing, although he was a fantastic rider, he likes to win, whether it's Lou or Guy or Peter Breakwell.
He likes to bring his wealth of experience to his students, one of which is New Zealand international rider Peter Breakwell, who must be considered one of the favorites in today's competition. With some insights on how he's approaching his coaching duties today, here's Butch Thomas with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
I'm with Graham Thomas. Butch, as everybody knows him. And Butch, you've been in the international ring and worn 2 hats, so to speak. You used to ride in this ring, actually when I was a little bit smaller, younger, so to speak, and now you're a trainer. You have 2 students going into this competition. How do you get them ready for the ring?
Well, one is my wife, and I hope that she's ready the best. The other is Peter Breakwell, a friend of mine from New Zealand, who is doing fantastic with his horses. But my lean is always to my wife.
What's it like as a husband to be a trainer as well?
Well, for me, it's a great trip that we're having because she never rode jumpers. And now she's probably one of the best jumper riders there is in the business. It amazes me every time.
And that's why, Ian and Linda, that I'm going to go with Lou Thomas as my favorite, because she does have one of the best groundmen in the sport.
Certainly the Butch Thomas influence has put 2 of the favorites into today's competition with Pete Breakwell and Lou Thomas. Who else do you like, Linda?
I think that MCR Cyrano has a really good chance. Kyle King, who's up on the ride, is a very competitive young man. He's dying for a win in the international ring.
Always big to win in the international ring, and no one's done it more than Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California. I like his chances with the New Zealand-bred gelding Fairway. This combination won the North American Show Jumping Championships back in the 1990s in the early part of the decade, and they seem to have returned to the top of the game. Also keep an eye on Port Townsend, Washington's Josh Stranahan with Chantilly. This little thoroughbred mare seems to pull out all the stops when it counts most. We'll find out who's en route to the victory circle here at Spruce Meadows when we return with the American Airlines Connection.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
Welcome back to Spruce Meadows. Ian Allison and Linda Southern Heathcote with the action of the American Airlines Connection as we look down at Mr. Tom Achel, who will be receiving the Cavaliers salute on behalf of American Airlines here today in the center of the international ring, donning the signature white Stetson of the city of Calgary. having a brief visit with John Anderson, the pathfinder in this competition. Linda, now coming into the ring first, John Anderson of Canada aboard Nesbitt Burns Ibacina. Always difficult. The rest of the field's watching where the problems might lie.
They're watching where the problems will lie, and Dave Ballard typically has been very tight on the time allowed, so he's going to have to be prompt around the course. John hasn't had a great week this week, but I think he's looking towards today to finish up the week on a good note.
Rather long track today for a jump-off competition, 540 meters. The time allowed 81 seconds. Horse and rider must maintain a speed of 400 meters per minute to come in under our time allowed. And our first entry on course, Nesbitt Burns Ibacina, a new mount for John Anderson this year.
He's got a couple light rubs there, but he's keeping it all in line. Steadying up for the skinny vertical. And here are the double oxers that I was talking about. Big scope test right away, early.
A little bit prophetic in your analysis of that. He caught it coming in, the first of the oxers, having it down for 4 faults. John Anderson, the first to go in our competition, as he moves now, making the big sweeping turn before heading back up to the north end of the international ring here at Spruce Meadows.
Another line that's very difficult, big triple bar here. And now he's going to have to get the horse very, very settled, because the last part of the course is very careful, meaning that the horses have to jump the jumps carefully.
Blanks come down, currently on 8 jumping faults. Horse and rider assessed 4 faults for every obstacle lowered. Now into the combination for another 4. And out of the triple, currently on 12 jumping faults for our pathfinder in the American Airlines Connection. Those going clear in this competition through the first round will come back for a jump off. John Anderson, relatively pleased with the performance of his young horse, Nesbitt Burns Ibacina. And of course, we saw those double oxers come into play.
He's riding the double oxers hard, and I think maybe John was a little bit concerned about it, and it looked to me like he overrode the front rail. You know, he had to jump the front rail clean first.
Coming in with a little bit too much motor going forward, not allowing his horse to get the back end collected to power out over that oxer. The first of the 4 faults on that 12-fault trip for John Anderson. As we look down from high above the international ring here at Spruce Meadows, Tara Ardalan of Valley Center, California, next to go on Starlet, a horse very familiar with success here at Spruce Meadows. This horse carried Ronnie Freeman to Chrysler Classic and Spruce Meadows jumping history a number of years ago, now with a 20-year-old in the irons.
Right. This horse is a lovely, lovely horse. Big scope. She looks like she's jumping careful. If Tara can keep it together, I think she'll jump a clean round. You know, she's steadying up here. She trusts this horse scope here, it looks like. Fantastic ride. She's looking like she has great composure over the course. She's taking her time, you know. She wants to jump a clean round. She knows that that's the job ahead of her, and she's got to rise to the challenge.
She puts it in early clean here in the American Airlines Connection. The pressure will then be on the rest of the field to match that feat and join her in a jump off. How does endurance play into this, Linda? In that the horse may be fit, but the riders can also get a little bit out of breath in this situation.
For sure. This course isn't as long as what we're going to see this afternoon in the Chrysler Classic, but you know it is. To me, Ian, it looks like she might be working on some time faults.
Time approaching 75 seconds. Our time allowed today 81 seconds as she approaches the final component here in the American Airlines Connection. And you are bang on, Linda. 81.56. With all the rails left in the cups, but a quarter of a time fault for Tara Ardalan of Valley Center. And here's a look at their triple combination effort.
You know, she's riding fantastic. That's the problem with going early. She's taken her time, so she jumps all the jumps clean, but she had to be prompter around the turns in order to stay in the time allowed.
A little bit of damage control riding, I guess, preferring to take a time fault back to the international warm-up area versus a rail down. A quarter of a time fault for our young entry from Valley Center, California, Tara Ardalan. As we move on down the start list, one of the entries we talked about off the top of the show, Peter Breakwell aboard Carissimo earlier in the tournament. Tough break for this combination, a broken bridle on course. However, they avoided disaster, and let's see if Peter Breakwell can get the job done now in the American Airlines.
Yeah, and you see that Peter turns right away after that oxer and goes right to the next jump. He's not going to waste any time. He's going to get to the jumps and try and jump them clean. You know, his horse broke the rein yesterday, so I think that he's really going to. Oh dear. That was a bit of a disaster.
Carissimo really stretching out over that oxer, but there just wasn't enough, too much fence rather than horse, and he couldn't get the job done. Currently on 4 jumping faults, the first of Butch Thomas's students to go today.
I know Pete will be very disappointed with this round. This horse looks like it may be running out of a bit of steam after 10 days of jumping and competing. Looks a bit tired, a little lethargic.
You do not want lead legs. This is like the 7th game of the playoffs. You need to come in with your game face on.
Absolutely. It's a very difficult course to jump clean.
We have yet to see a clear round. Tara Ardalan leading the way with a 1/4 of a time fault. Peter Breakwell finishes up with 12 faults in our competition, under our time allowed of 77.39. 12 jumping faults for our New Zealand entry.
Pete was trying to be so accurate here and he's really rough with his hands trying to get the horse right. The horse jumps in good, just doesn't have enough step to get to the next jump.
Took off long and didn't have enough horsepower to clear that massive oxer, and that was the start of the troubles for New Zealand's Peter Breakwell aboard Carissimo. The sun shines on the international ring here at Spruce Meadows, and we'll be back with more of the American Airlines Connection after these commercial messages. Next on course, Carla Duwert from Vancouver, British Columbia, aboard Sand and Surf, one of the youngsters in our competition who we watched come up through the junior and amateur divisions over the last couple of years, now on center stage of international show jumping here at Spruce Meadows. This is a young girl that's not adverse to taking risks, and if she can put in a clear round, she'll be tough to beat in a jump off. But first, she's got a lot of jumping ahead of her.
Absolutely. They're a very interesting combination. You know, it's looks to me a little bit loose and inconsistent, but she rides well and seems to get the job done.
The chemistry seems to be there between Carla Duwert, the 21-year-old from Vancouver, and her 14-year-old thoroughbred gelding, Sand and Surf. Currently to this stage of the competition, our youngster, Tara Ardalan, at 20 years of age, has been the best for the job today on a 1/4 of a time fault. Looks like she took one in the face there coming off.
Yeah, the horse really jumped up to her. I don't think she realized that he was going to jump that high, and just kind of got loose in the tack. She's doing very well. She's being very consistent, conservative in the time. She's rubbed a lot, but they don't count.
Using the Braille method, coming into the triple combination now. I think she's touched every obstacle on course. But this crowd here at Spruce Meadows will be very appreciative of a clear round. The time looks to be okay. Oh, heartbreak at the final fence.
Looked to me, Ian, like the horse thought he was done after the crowd started to cheer before that last jump, and he said, "I'm going home."
Nervous anticipation by the crowd, and a tough break for Vancouver's Carla Duwert aboard Sand and Surf at the very last fence.
You can see she's fighting with him, and he just won't come back to her.
That big vertical rather towards the out gate, Sand and Surf wanting to get back and talk about the rounds with his buddies, and it's not unusual for the final fence in a competition to come down such as that.
You know, Dave Ballard has done a great job because the course is set that it's very careful towards the end, and you're headed right towards the in gate with the clock tower.
One of the great Americans in this competition, Rich Fellers, making his way out to the center of the international ring where Tom Aschel is taking the salute on behalf of American Airlines. Tom Aschel, great friend of this sport, having been based in Canada for the last couple of years. It's going to be our loss, and speaking with Tom earlier today, he's been transferred to Chicago, but he assures us he'll be back up to Spruce Meadows in the future to continue this great tradition in international show jumping, the American Airlines Connection, as we look at one of the top hands from Wilsonville, Oregon. Rich Fellers is coming into this ring aboard Tullamore Dew. Now, Rich has had victories at Spruce Meadows over the years, the most recent one in the Nortel High Speed Stakes, but this is a new mount for him this year.
This is a new mount that he just bought earlier this year, and it's a little Irish horse. It looks fantastic. Very, very careful. I think the question in Rich's mind will be how much scope he has, so he's got to really press him to jump the jumps well early in the course.
Of course, Rich Fellers had a major setback in this jumping season. He had his sights set on taking a shot at the United States Olympic team, going to Atlanta with his great horse Zelando, but unfortunately Zelando contracted a fatal disease earlier this year and passed away at quite a young age, and that took away Rich's dream of going to the Olympics this year, but he's rebounded and had a successful 96 year to date and looking to put in a clear round now, the first in the American Airlines Connection.
Rich is riding really well. You know, he is a true ace in this ring. He knows exactly what he has to do to get it done, and he asked his horse for the scope early. Looks like he's sitting on a clean round. Horse is jumping fantastic. Pressing him here. Now the control factor comes in. He's got to get the horse settled because it's almost all verticals coming home.
This crowd is anxiously awaiting a clear round here at Spruce Meadows as he heads into the combination.
It's a very difficult combination. Right where it's set, you know, it's shaded coming in. The horses are looking down. They're not paying attention to what their job is.
4 faults for Rich Fellers of Wilsonville, Oregon, 79-28, and troubles at the triples caused 4 faults for Rich Fellers.
He looked good, but if you watch this horse, he kind of just jumps right at the jump. I think he's looking over at a couple other things. He's not really paying attention to Rich, and this horse has to learn to believe that Rich is his best friend rather than the jumps.
So much depends on the trust relationship between horse and rider, and Tulmore Dew decided to take on the combination on his own, and it resulted in 4 jumping faults. Ann Hadlock of Woodinville, Washington, next to go aboard Miro. She's been quite a surprise in the international ring this year, debuting on center stage of show jumping and doing so quite capably.
This is a big warm blood horse, you know, a lot of horse for Ann.
10-year-old Dutch-bred gelding, Miro. A little bit unassuming because of his size. He covers a lot of ground, but he might have trouble with that adjustability factor you were talking about.
Absolutely. You know, she galloped around the corner there, and he didn't even try to come back to her for that vertical.
Very important that the horses at this level of competition are responsive to each of the commands or aids that are being communicated by the rider to shorten and lengthen the stride, pick up the speed, get collected. Currently we have 4 faults for our youngster from Woodinville, Washington, just 18 years of age.
What's going through Ann's mind right now is that she's got to keep it at 4 faults. She doesn't want to have any more faults, so she's working really hard. You can see her pulling on the reins, trying to get the horse to listen to her. She's using her voice, saying, whoa, you know, every little aid that she can use, she's going to.
A lot of rubs for the Dutch gelding Miro, but just 1 rail down in the early going for Annie Hadlock of Woodinville, Washington. And that 4-fault performance in 76-34 will certainly get our youngster onto the leaderboard here at the American Airlines Connection at the Spruce Meadows North American. Welcome back to Spruce Meadows. Ian Allison and Linda Southern Heathcott as we look down at Tom Achel of American Airlines receiving the Cavaliers salute. Happy to wear the sunglasses here today at Spruce Meadows. It's a sunny Alberta day, and Lou Thomas is getting ready to take the challenge of the American Airlines Connection with native code.
Yeah. Lou, I think, has a distinct advantage. You know, her horse is a very careful horse by nature. He doesn't jump typically the natural obstacles so well, but there are no natural obstacles on this course, and I think that she'll be up to the challenge.
It'll be interesting to see if the lead legs haven't come on to native code, but I think Lou has managed the horse well through the tournament. A light rub at the first fence, that can be a good thing or a bad thing.
I think for this horse it's probably a good thing. He just walked in the ring, you know, and he rubbed a jump, and now he knows, oh, I've got to really pay attention to Lou. She's a very accurate rider, beautiful rider. She's setting up the double oxers here, rides him, jumps out beautifully. Now she's going to get him to settle down and wait for her. You can hear her say, whoa, whoa.
The tough thing that Lou Thomas has when she's competing on course, more specifically native code, that he's carrying the weight of husband Butch and son Guy over every fence.
Well, they're her biggest fans, that's for sure. She talks to her horse constantly. You know, she says to him, whoa, whoa. She wants him to be listening to her.
A little bit of a interesting way of jumping the planks there, but no harm done as they come into the combination. The crowd is eager to see a clear round here at Spruce Meadows. Can Lou Thomas do it? Yes, she can. 78, make it 79-27. But more importantly, the new leader in the American Airlines Connection, Lou Thomas, aboard Native Code.
You know, that horse really lost his form coming out of the triple combination, but she jumps in good, she says whoa, and he really loses his form, but she keeps hanging on to his mouth, and they jump it clean.
Showing you the athletic ability of that thoroughbred. He had to get the landing gear up. It was a function over form situation, but very careful. Used his body, twisted, turned, got the job done. And there's Lou Thomas heading out to the international warm-up area to catch her breath. Husband Butch looking on, congratulating her on a great job.
Well, I know that they'll be pleased with that because they want to be in this jump-off.
At 51 years of age, she's a force to be reckoned with still in this sport.
Absolutely.
A look down on the international ring from the Canna crane, giving us the bird's eye view of the massive layout of the grounds here at Spruce Meadows. Now let's check in at the international warm-up area with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
Lou, great round out there. What was going through your mind? First clear.
Well, he was real erratic today. I expected him to be a little bit down since yesterday was such a hard class for him, but he just rose to the occasion. The in and out is very tight, the line of three, but thank goodness he's a cat, and we schooled him through a tight combination before we went in, and he really paid attention.
Now, if there is a jump off, any plans?
To go fast. My husband only likes to win.
Well, best of luck.
Thanks, Pollyanna.
Carrie Potter of Rancho Santa Fe, California, next to go in competition. And what a story she's been at this year's Spruce Meadows North American Championship. In the first phase, she went on a winning streak of 7 consecutive competitions. And she is certainly hoping that that form holds up today.
This young rider's a beautiful rider. She's very aggressive. She wants to win. She has a lovely horse. He's very careful. He flips his butt in the air. I think he has enough scope and enough capability to jump this course and challenge Lou Thomas.
Just 20 years of age, and look at this horse scope out through those pair of boxers. Great with the front end, great with the back end, and that's what it takes to succeed today.
Looked like she got a little bit left behind there, but she wanted to give that horse a bit of gap to that vertical because it's a big, tall vertical. Picking up the pace now. He's jumping fantastic, and she's riding him really well. Now we have to see, Ian, whether she can get him settled to jump the rest of the course very carefully.
Does not want to come into this Oxer vertical combination with too much speed. You can mow these verticals down quickly. A light rub there, but they get through. Will there be a jump off in the American Airlines Connection? One fence to go.
Absolutely.
And the crowd at Spruce Meadows shows their appreciation.
Ian, we have a time fault.
The scoreboard, however, will mean heartbreak for our youngster. 82-84 the official time. 1/2 of a time fault. That will only put them into 3rd position.
That's very unfortunate. Look at this horse jump these double oxers. He just stretches and reaches for that back rail and does everything he can to get her over that.
A tough break for Carrie Potter. Next up, 2-time North American champions Hap Hansen and Fairway, a combination that I was touting off the top of the show as having a solid chance at victory today. In 93 and 94, they were the best in the continent. But not today.
And a fence down at number 2. Unfortunate. This horse really hasn't been jumping in top form for Hap, don't you think?
Seems to be somewhat lethargic. Perhaps Hap Hansen's shot at making the 96 Olympic team prevented them from competing the way they normally do, taking them out of their regiment. But I believe you're right, Linda. This New Zealand bred thoroughbred not at the top of his game right now.
Hap's such a superb jockey. You know, he's He knows what he has to do, and he's got to bring this horse home without any more faults. And that's what he's riding for right now. He's very consistent. He has all the experience, all the tools to be able to do it. He knows he's asking the horse to come back to him before the triple.
Carrying 4 faults into the triple. Will he carry 4 out? Yes, he will. Fence number 2 comes down. Heartbreak for this combination. And so it goes. A 4-fault performance for Hap Hansen of Encinitas, California. 78.84 the time of that. Just 1 knockdown on course at jump number 2, Linda.
He has a beautiful canter stride, and he rides beautifully to the jump. You know, the horse jumps it well in front and just seems to forget his back end over it.
Just buffing the red paint on the American Airlines vertical. And with that, they are dealt out of contention in today's competition. Hap Hansen and Fairway. There's a look at your pre-event favorite, Linda, as Kyle King charges into the ring and Tom Aschel rises to take the Cavaliers salute in the signature white Stetson of the city of Calgary, where Spruce Meadows is situated in the lovely Alberta Rockies, and Kyle King is not enjoying the Rocky Mountains today. He's looking around the course at the mountains. He has to jump.
He looks like he's got his game face on, that's for sure. And Kyle King, although he's a young rider, has quite a bit of experience in this international ring. He knows what it's going to have to take for him and Cyrano to jump this course properly, and I think he's up for the challenge.
Just 21 years of age from San Marcos, California, and MCR Cyrano is a 9-year-old Holsteiner stallion, and once they get a couple of fences under their belt, I'm sure they'll ease in a little more. Sometimes with the stallions, it's tough to get them focused when they come into the ring.
Oh, jumped that beautiful, Ian. It looks like we've got a horse on our...
Lou Thomas knows that young Kyle King will take a shot in the jump off if he advances to challenge her with her thoroughbred. As Kyle King, the youngster from San Marcos, gets through the combination that's taken so many victims today.
He's fighting with the horse, saying, you know, listen to me, I want you to listen to me. The horse is fighting with him.
This is a youngster who has literally been raised on the back of the horse since the age of 3. He's been riding at the Grand Prix levels since it was legal to do so at the age of 18. Very strong young man who campaigns throughout North America with his father, the legendary horseman Scott King.
Oh, hard rub there. He's really got to get this horse to settle down for the triple combination.
Problems coming in, and you sized it up perfectly. He could not get the horse to pay attention and listen coming into the triple, and as quickly as that, a ticket to the jump off is now a 7-fault trip with 4 obstacles left to jump. Does not like the looks of these rainbow verticals with the butterflies around them, and such is the nature of stallions sometimes.
And Kyle knows that his horse is quite upset, and he's going to save him for another day. The horse is trying to listen to him, but he really doesn't trust what Kyle's asking him to do, and he is not going to play the game today.
It's important, and Kyle realized it right away, not to put a scare into the horse, electing to save MCR Cyrano for another day. And Lou Thomas dodges a bullet as Kyle takes offense before leaving the ring. So there's no permanent fear in the eyes of this young stallion. More from Spruce Meadows when we return after these commercial messages.
Were you able to find any other listings in the area, you know, for comparison?
I don't do that.
Isn't that your job?
I'm not that kind of agent, no.
As always, a jam-packed crowd here at Spruce Meadows to enjoy the best of international show jumping and a look at one of the horses with the biggest heart in the sport, Chantilly, the thoroughbred mare with Josh Stranahan, one of my long shot picks, Linda.
Yeah, and I think I had to agree with you. You know, this mare is a real trier. She loves Josh. She loves to jump in this ring, and she is careful. So we'll have to see whether Josh can keep it together and jump a clean round.
The only clear to date put in by a thoroughbred named Native Code with Lou Thomas. Let's see if Chantilly can do it. Last year's champions of the Nortel High Speed Stakes, earlier in the North American tournament, winning a silver medal in the Nortel. They'd like to get back to the gold medal podium here at Spruce Meadows. They need a clear to have a chance. There's a look at Lou Thomas, who's walking on eggshells in the international warm-up area here. Not wishing bad luck to Josh.
Oh, and it comes down.
That was a
light
delayed
rub
action.
behind. She jumped the double oxers great.
Took a while for that skinny white pole to come down, but now the yellow and blacks come down as quickly as that. Josh Stranahan and Chantilly fall out of sight in the competition. Trying to hold back a smile. Lou Thomas.
She's thinking, oh, I'm really sorry, Josh.
It's been a long time
One more,
coming.
she's saying. One more.
A legend in this sport in the early years of Spruce Meadows. One of the great hunter riders ever to ride in North America, just making the transition to the Grand Prix circuit about 5 seasons ago. And if she could win the American Airlines Connection today, the fans here at Spruce Meadows would certainly appreciate the effort. Josh Stranahan finishing up aboard Chantilly, 12 1/4 faults, and Lou Thomas continues one of the longest waits in sport.
Josh Stranahan's horse to me looked a little bit tired, Ian, just not, he's run her quite a bit this week and she just wasn't up to it today. He's fighting with her. She just isn't using her hind end like she usually does. I think she's maybe just tired.
Through the clock tower, our final entry in the American Airlines Connection. Our final horse rider combination from La Cañada, California, to salute Mr. Tom Aichel, who on behalf of American Airlines has been receiving the salute from all of our athletes, the top 20 that have qualified to take the test today, and on behalf of the 83,000 people around the world who make up American Airlines, Mr. Tom Aichel has been wearing the white Stetson here at the center of the international ring at Spruce Meadows. Now, Francie Stein-Waddell and Charles R. She's won this year. She won the Olympic qualifier, the World Cup earlier at Spruce Meadows at the national tournament, not with this horse. This is a totally different model. This is Charles R., the quarter horse.
But I do think that, Ian, you know, Francie, of all the riders in this class, very similar rider to Lou Thomas. She's very quiet, sits beautifully on the horse, and she's a good competitor. I think that she knows what she has to do, and she's going to try and have Charles R. rise to the occasion and force a jump off with Lou.
She has to be careful in this situation, not to be too slow and careful to put in the clear round, because there hasn't been a lot of pad on the time. Lou Thomas looking on, wondering if she's going to be taking a ride in the golf cart to Victory Circle here at Spruce Meadows.
Francie has all of the tools to be able to put this round together. She has a good horse. Oh.
She has a rail, and Lou Thomas ends a significant drought, and husband and coach Butch Thomas with the hug of congratulations in the international warm-up area. However, the day's work is not done for Francie Stein-Waddell. She's looking for a quick 4 now.
Absolutely. She's going to speed up and see if she can get a higher placing with the time that it's taking her to ride this course. And she has a second fence down because of it.
It is such a technical sport. It's a game of inches. Horse and rider doing battle against the test as authored by our course designers, which incorporates the color, the distances, and all of the other obstacles they have to contend with. We're having a bit of a garage sale in the international ring right now, as they have 4 rails down for 16 jumping faults. Non-players today, but there's the only one that had all the answers to the puzzle, Lou Thomas of Burson, California.
And a big smile for Lou.
Charles R. leaves the international ring here with Francie Stein-Waddell, and we're going to check in with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, who's been down in all of the action in the international warm-up area, where our champion Lou Thomas and husband Butch are getting ready for the drive to the winner's circle. Here's Pollyanna.
I'm with Carrie Potter. Carrie, a great round out there, but a halftime fault. What happened?
Well, I was careful, and a lot of people told me that the last jump was one that came down a lot. Brown rails, horses don't see it very well, and that's where I lost my time the last jump. I took too many strides from the combination.
Now, you've had a great tournament, and you've been in a lot of competitions, but last year wasn't so great. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, last year was my rookie year, and I was learning to jump the big jumps, and, you know, coming out of the junior ring, you think, oh, piece of cake. But let me tell you, a little slap in the face for me. It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and just times in the ring and experience on all three of my horses has helped me tremendously become more confident at the bigger jumps and relax a little more and take caution and care with the jumping the bigger jumps, not the running around the junior jumper height fences. So I just kind of had to learn all over again. It's a whole nother step in riding, and I'm trying to do my best, and I'm still learning, and I hope to continue for many years to come, because riding is a sport that takes a lifetime to be good, and I just want to continue.
Well, a great day for Carrie and a rookie, but Ian Allison is standing by with a very happy veteran.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it was clear today why Lou Thomas is considered one of the best horsemen in the world. The only clear round today in the American Airlines Connection aboard native code Lou Thomas of Burson, California. And it's such a great story, Lou. She was a champion at Spruce Meadows in 1976, again a champion in 96. What a difference a couple of decades makes.
It certainly does, Ian. It's wonderful to be here, and to be able to compete in the international ring is spectacular.
The only clear round today, and ladies and gentlemen, added pressure for this woman in that her coach is also her husband, one of the great horsemen of the world, Butch Thomas. And what were his thoughts back there? You guys were walking on eggshells.
Yep, we were. We were talking about old times here and just killing time till everyone finished.
It was a tough wait. The only clear round in the competition, and having the best seats in the house was Mr. Tom Achel of American Airlines, who would now like to get on with the championship presentation. Tom?
Lou, on behalf of the 97,000 employees at American Airlines from around the world, it gives us great pleasure to present you this check for $18,500. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Lou Thomas, the champion of the American Airlines Connection. Certainly, Lou, the biggest win for Native Code?
Yes, it is. It's fantastic.
A great win indeed, and as you did 20 years ago at Spruce Meadows, can we invite you now to hoist the trophy off the champion's podium? Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the American Airlines Connection, clearly the best on the day, Lou Thomas of Burson, California. Lou Thomas with a convincing and unquestioned championship in today's American Airlines Connection. She was full marks for the win, a great ride with Native Code.
It really was fantastic. You know, she rode great, the horse jumped fantastic, and I was especially proud to be a woman today because seemed like it was Ladies' Day out there in the international ring.
Indeed, it was Ladies' Day today. The top 4 placings in this competition going to the women. Lou Thomas, of course, leading the way, but Carrie Potter, Carla DeWert, and Tara Ardalan also rounding out the top 4 placings. Time was of the essence out there. The clock caught everyone but Lou.
Absolutely. You know, Lou's a very experienced rider, and she knew what she had to do. She's ridden in the international ring before, and she knew she had to be fast but very, very careful, and she rode great.
Clean, efficient, and on time to the victory circle in the American Airlines Connection. And now on behalf of Linda Southern Heathcott and Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, I'm Ian Allison. So long from Spruce Meadows.
Broken, remnants of all that's golden. I'm holding on to that feeling.
We've all got some miles to make up. Miles to the job site, the campsite, and anything else we set our sights on. So let's roll up our sleeves, because we've got miles to make up. Now you can buy from home with the help of Ram Click and Drive. And during Ram Summer Clearance, you pay what we pay with Employee Pricing Plus and 0% financing for 84 months.
Thank you for joining us today watching the North American at home. We carry many grooming tools and solutions here at the shop to get your horse looking shiny from ear to tail. From fly spray to shampoo, hoof oil to basic vet supplies. Both horses are wearing customizable saddle pads by Ogilvy. Both the bump up and the saddle pad can be any color under the sun to represent you, your horse, or the barn you're with. And the ears that both horses are wearing are by Talisman. They, again, come in any color. As well as if you're looking for something a little bit more jazzy, Cantac Equestrian has a lot of custom options for their ears as well. We carry a large variety of tack for every price point. You can see our selection online or give us a call. Just to name a few, we carry Shires, Dion, None Finer, and Walsh. Every horse and rider have different needs when it comes to bits. By carrying a large selection of bits, we try to meet these needs. We carry Steuben, Trust, Poppuccini, Jump-In, Nath, Myler, just to name a few. The horses shown here are wearing boots by Veritas. Our selection of boots includes Equifit, Veritas, Escadron, Trust, Acavallo, and Grand Prix. Give us a call and we'll find the right boot for your horse. Are you looking for new stirrups for your saddle? Brian is using the Free Jump stirrups. They've got a safety technology to them. We also have the Tech stirrup, the Cantac stirrup, which comes in a number of different fun colors, and also the more traditional Steuben stirrup. Brian is wearing our new men's breech by Anna Scarpati. It's a perfect breech for every day. It washes well. It's a great price point. We also have quite a number of breeches for men and women from Equiline, Sam Shields, Kingsland, Becure, AA Platinum, and Vision Apparel. Give us a call and we can find the right breech for you. Both Brian and Christina are wearing Spruce Meadows branded apparel, to be found on sale right now at the Spruce Meadows shop. We carry Omega Alpha at the Spruce Meadows shop. Omega Alpha offers a wide range of unique natural health products for riders, horses, and dogs. If you would like to find out the right product for you or one of your pets, give us a call or visit our website. The Spruce Meadows shop is proud to be the supplier of Cavalor in Alberta. They have a wide range of feed, supplements, and grooming products. You can find something for your broodmare, retired horse, or performance horse. Cavalor feed is available for pickup, or you can arrange delivery options. Give us a call at the shop. We can hook you up today. Right now, the Spruce Meadows shop is open by appointment. We're available for gateside pickup, feed pickup or delivery, and online 24/7. The Spruce Meadows shop is open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5.
This year, Spruce Meadows is proud to bring you our 45th anniversary edition of Name the Foal, presented by TELUS. We have some exciting updates for this year's contest, including 4 foals, a change in naming rules, an extended entry period, and a cash prize with unique keepsake. Follow the foals all summer through our official social media channels as they grow and develop, and we look forward to seeing the names. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries. Meet foal number 1. Born April 12, 2020, this little colt was the first Spruce Meadows foal of the year. Not one to shy away, he's figured out that people give the best neck scratches. While he was born dark in color, his dad, Spruce Meadows stallion Do-Re-Mi, is gray, and this little guy will likely take on that color as he gets older. Foal number 1's name will have to start with the letter W. Inspired by the original Spruce Meadows stallion, Wodka, or Young Wolfsburg as he was known at Spruce Meadows, this beautiful Hanoverian stallion helped to introduce the breed to Canada. He was part of the foundation of what is now the Spruce Meadows breeding program. Meet foal number 2. Born April 24, 2020, the second foal of the year is also a colt and has the same sire as foal number 1. Unlike his sibling, he's a little more timid and prefers to stay closer to Mom. Mom is Spruce Meadows mare Skyline, who always produces great-looking foals. This is her 4th baby. Foal number 2's name will need to start with the letter A, inspired by Spruce Meadows riding master Albert Cly. Albert's passion for horses brought him to Canada as a young man. He never intended to settle down in Canada, but Spruce Meadows co-founder Ron Southern convinced him. Albert brought with him knowledge and skills that would be passed on to all of his students and helped create what is now the Spruce Meadows Horse Program. He was responsible for the development of many national team horses and riders. Meet foal number 3, a real Mother's Day gift who was born on May 10th, 2020. She's the first filly out of all the foals this year and is easily recognizable with her big white blaze that mimics the markings of her father, Spruce Meadows stallion Spot Cash. Foal number 3 will need to have a name that starts with the letter S. Keeping with tradition of past years, her father is Spruce Meadows Hanoverian stallion Spot Cash, and we want her name to be inspired by Spruce Meadows and the Southern family. Spruce Meadows was the dream of the Southerns to bring an unlikely sport to an unlikely place, giving young Canadian riders a chance to successfully compete against the world's best. Since the inception of Spruce Meadows, Canadian riders have gone on to become some of the best in the world. Meet foal number 4. This year, Spruce Meadows welcomed a 4th foal to the family at the beginning of the Victoria Day long weekend on May 16, 2020. She is a beautiful big girl with bright eyes and a sweet personality. Her father is Do-Re-Mi, and her mother is the lovely Kate H. Foal number 4 is a bonus entry for Name the Foal presented by TELUS. Her name will need to start with the letter M, inspired by Spruce Meadows co-founder Mark Southern. Mrs. Southern has had unmatched influence and passion shaping Spruce Meadows into what it is today. Her motto, "The coffee pot is always on," brings a warm feeling to Spruce Meadows, and guests always feel like family. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries.
What an impressive group of foals we have in 2020. 2 colts and 2 fillies. Let's see if the little boys or the little girls rise to the top of this sport over the next decade or so. Who knows? Perhaps in 8, 9, 10 years, one or all of these horses could come through the clock tower at Spruce Meadows and contest a championship in the international ring. International show jumping is one of the only sports in the world where men and women compete on the same playing field against each other. And through the decades, we've been treated to some wonderful examples of women at the very top of this sport. In this next segment, we're going to introduce you to 3 such women who laid down impressive resumes in the international ring during the North American in their careers. First, we'll have a look at Kim Curtin and her beautiful little gray Kiko, who way back in the early 1990s laid down a natural hat trick and won all 3 speed events offered at the North American. Then, of course, there's the great Leslie Howard, who's virtually won everything there is to win, not only here at Spruce Meadows, but around the world in this sport. But it was here aboard her gray stallion, Nick of Diamonds. She laid down one of the most impressive rides I've ever seen, and I think for the tens of thousands on hand that day, they would agree. That was in the 2002 Canada Post Xpress. And then we'll go to 2015, when a young Canadian named Cara Chad, long before ever being named to the Canadian Olympic effort in 2016, jumped to victory in the TD winning round against her mentor, Canadian Olympic gold medalist Eric Lamaze.
Hello, I'm Kim Curtin. I'm honored to be part of Spruce Meadows' 45th anniversary. I first competed at Spruce Meadows in 1976. There is no better feeling than riding underneath the clock tower to enter into the international ring where you are greeted and cheered by the best crowds in the world. When I think about the North American, the memories flow. History was made when George Lindemann, Kiko, and I tied in the Fuji Stakes down to the 100ths of a second. The course designer had to quickly come up with a jump-off course. My groom, Brian Leachman, was too nervous to record Kiko, so Linda Southern had to put them back in for me while I learned the course. Winning the Esso Challenge earned Kiko and I a hat trick and a standing ovation. My father was so proud. It was also Canada's 125th anniversary. Thank you, Spruce Meadows and the wonderful North American tournament, for the lifelong memories and friendships I still have 28 years later.
Sunshine and blue skies have returned to the Spruce Meadows tournament grounds after record rainfalls in the month of June. Blue skies and green grass await the 48 top speed horses in North America for today's Esso Challenge.
Hello and welcome to the North American Show Jumping Championships from Spruce Meadows. I'm Nancy Southern, along with Ian Allison and Pollyanna Hardwick Brown. In the tournament's 17-year history, the Esso Challenge has become renowned throughout the world for the difficulty of the track and the lucrative rewards for rising to the top in this $45,000 speed event. But it is not an event for the weak at heart. The year 1990, during the pursuit of glory, Canada's show jumping ace, Ian Miller, fell prey to the intricacy and testing nature of the course, sustaining a severe concussion which put him out of action for 8 weeks. Today, one of the favorites going into the Esso Challenge is Canada's Linda Southern Heathcote. And Linda, what have you done to prepare your horse for today's competition?
Well, my horse ran pretty well yesterday. She jumped great, and so today I think the course is very difficult because it's a very careful course, and I believe that the last jump will come down a lot. So I think what I'm going to try and do is be pretty prompt in the beginning so I can just settle down and jump the rest of the course clean. In preparation, I probably won't jump her that much because she gets quite ready when she comes in the ring.
Good luck today. And now, with a look at the other contenders in today's Esso Challenge, let's go down to Ian Allison with the inside line.
Thanks, Nancy. Back in the International Hitching Ring, the best horses and riders from Canada, the United States, and Mexico are getting ready to go in and take the Esso Challenge. Here's a look at some of the horses to keep an eye out for today. Kiko is a definite favorite today. Having beaten this field twice already at the North American Championships, Kim Curtin and Kiko would like to complete the hat trick. Another top Canadian entry is Katja with Mark Laskin. This Dutch-bred mare is en route to the top of the sport, and a victory today is not out of the question. Linda Southern Heathcote brings an awesome 1-2 punch into the Esso Challenge with Fujifilm True Colors and Fletcher Challenge. Fuji is a spirited Dutch-bred mare that will be the pathfinder for the Team Spruce Meadows stables. Ogo Pogo is a 15-year-old thoroughbred with 3-day event experience. Speed will not be a problem. If this gelding stays off the rails, look for a good result. Abound is a Dutch-bred gelding ridden by USET veteran George Lindemann. They were beaten in a jump-off by 1/100th of a second earlier this week and will look to avenge that today.
Thanks, Ian. And now for a different perspective on the Esso Challenge course, let's go down to our resident course designer, Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown.
Today's Esso Challenge really is going to be a challenge for the riders. Course designer Dave Ballard has 3 double combinations set up. It's tough to make up time in a double combination, and he has 3 of them, so the riders really are looking at a challenge today.
Pollyanna, it looks like an extremely difficult track. 46 horses will be starting in today's Esso Challenge, and our first horse is on course.
Well, of course, the Esso Challenge is a part of the Spruce Meadows North American Show Jumping Championships. Riders here from throughout the continent, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And our first of the Mexican entries today, Alfonso Romo Sr. of Monterrey, and he's riding Choice La Silla.
And the first fence down will give Alfonso a 6-second penalty. This is not his best speed horse. Now, many of the riders in today's competition are riding 2 mounts.
When a rider has a fence in the early going, a decision has to be made as to whether or not they're going to take a few more risks and try to make the time up, particularly in the early going of a competition.
Linda Southern said earlier that she was going to be a bit more aggressive in the early going of the course and then try and be more careful setting up at the latter end. It'll be interesting to see how some of these top speed riders approach this. 12 seconds in penalties, and Alfonso clearing the water jump nicely. Now watch this line. There's an option. You either make the right-hand turn after jump number 9 or the left-hand turn. I think the left gives you a better approach to the final line. Jump number 10, you should see 6 gallop strides. And Alfonso only got the 7, but if you only get, now he made a great effort to get the 2 strides in 11AB and the 4 strides to the last fence. Very technical line.
Running time of 76.25 with penalties, 88.25 for Alfonso Romo.
Coming down to the combination of 6A and B, Alfonso makes a very nice approach. However, with the Swedish oxers and the long distance in between the fences, you can see the horse cuts down at the back of the spread of the second oxer.
Almost got high-centered or bellied out coming over that oxer. Alfonso Romo leaving the ring aboard Choice La Silla from Monterrey, Mexico. Our next entry on course, an entry that we've seen throughout the tournament year here at Spruce Meadows perform very well. However, Andrew Philbrick, I believe, might have brought Silver Spirit one step too far today. This horse has been dominant in preliminary and very consistent in intermediate competition, but Silver Spirit is into a new game today in the Esso Challenge.
Absolutely, Ian. And there's the man of the day representing Imperial Oil Limited for the Esso Challenge, Mr. Doug Baldwin, the Senior Vice President and Director of Imperial Oil Limited.
Today's event, of course, a part of Imperial Oil's ongoing Canada 125 celebration, and what a great day we have at Spruce Meadows as Andrew Philbrick is on course with Silver Spirit.
Well, Ian, I agree. I think that this horse
might have been moved up a little too fast. He has been a winner in the preliminary section of the tournament. But as a preliminary horse, he's relatively young and inexperienced, and this is a lot to ask of a young horse, this course today. Seems to be handling it beautifully, and he's leading right now. The intermediate time, 33.27. Ooh, stumbled after the oil derricks.
Andrew's an interesting rider. He may not be the most elegant of horsemen in the saddle when you watch him go around the course, but he really does seem to get the job done.
And the horses really respect Andrew. They seem to be willing and wanting to please him, so that's the mark of a good horseman.
He's about to prove us wrong with our speculation that this horse might have been overfaced in today's Esso Challenge, with a nice time currently at 68 seconds.
This horse just eating up the ground as he gallops through the finish. A fantastic performance by Silver Spirit. Total time 75.59. Let's look at Andrew and Silver Spirit as they gallop to jump number 8. Now, Andrew told me this horse had been started as a field hunter, so obviously that helped him in approaching the natural obstacle, this water jump. Look at the horse's ears, perked forward. He handles it beautifully. He's way up in the air. Just a tremendous effort by Silver Spirit and Andrew Philbrick.
As I finish off my last bite of crow, a look at Andrew Philbrick leaving the ring, 75.59, our new leader in the competition, as we congratulate Andrew Philbrick on a fine effort. Our next entry, a horse I expect may challenge Silver Spirit at the top of the leaderboard. Fujifilm True Colors with Linda Southern Heathcote. A great speed combination, and the ground having dried out will be to the advantage of this mare.
Jumping by the braille method over number 2. Really rattling that fence. I'm not sure that this little mare, Linda's really been concentrating and focusing on those Olympic trials this year, and hence the speed horses have kind of taken a back seat ride, if you will. I'm not sure this mare can handle the trouble with the combination distances, and there we saw it.
As well, Fujifilm True Colors having come off a year's layoff with a stifle injury, just returning to competition in 1992. This was one of the top speed entries in the world of show jumping through the late 1980s. Hopefully they'll be able to get back on form. The first of Linda's 1-2 punch today in our Esso Challenge.
Linda carrying with her 12 seconds in penalties as she approaches the last line. Handling the distances down the last line like an old pro, but the big wide oxer at jump number 6 was the first of her problems. And there's the co-chairman of the Spruce Meadows tournaments, Mark and Ron Southern, watching Linda Southern Heathcote. And we'll be back with more from the Esso Challenge at Spruce Meadows right after this.
Here's an entry that could certainly challenge the top of the board. Exact with Will Simpson. New mount for Will Simpson, but a very talented international speed horse in Exact.
Exact comes from the Rancho del Puma farms down in California by Connie and Larry Dinovitz.
This one jumps a bit like Michael Jordan. The tongue's hanging out the side of his mouth.
He's a great athlete, too. Will, a very good hand and a great catch rider. He's the kind of rider that doesn't need a lot of time on horses. He's got a great feeling for a horse. Ooh, lucky there at 6A, but he's still clear. And look at that intermediate time. He's 1 second ahead of Andrew Philbrick. An intermediate time of 32.96. And he's clear so far. Makes the left-hand turn just as Andrew did on Silver Spirit as he's galloping down to the last 4 fences in the Esso Challenge. The time to catch, 75.59.
He's had some serious rubs out there, Nancy, but lots of luck with the rails staying.
He does it. German Andrew Philbrick.
Will Simpson with the salute to the crowd, cheering him on as he moves to the top of our leaderboard. 72.46 now the time to beat.
Galloping around to jump number 10. Look at this, the back rail of this oxer. Watch it bounce in the cups there, and quite a strange jump. Exact was like a cat over that, the way he twisted his legs around and landed with all four on the ground. Let's go down to Pollyanna with our leader.
How was it out there? Oh man, I just had the time of my life. Big jumps, going fast. Horse was cooperating perfectly. Felt great.
Congratulations, go catch your breath.
Thank you very much. All right.
In the center of the international ring, the tradition at Spruce Meadows is for the hosting sponsor to be on course with the riders. To receive the salute from the riders, Mr. Doug Baldwin, representing Imperial Oil Limited.
Revving up his engine to undertake the Esso Challenge now, one of the great riders from the United States, George Lindemann Jr., with his first of 2 entries in the competition. This is Larry 326.
Well, George has had his fair share of wins at the North American Championships. To date, his prize money totals about $18,000. Like nothing better than to take home the $15,000 first place prize money in the Esso Challenge. Intermediate time is right on the mark. Did he yell at his horse, and his horse responded? Larry 326.
He really hit the high notes coming into the water there, but Larry 326 responded. George Lindemann now picking up the pace coming into this tricky final line.
Time to beat, Will Simpson, 72.46 seconds. He's clear. 1 jump left. He gets it, and he's not quite fast enough.
73.36, the clear round performance of George Lindemann of Greenwich, Connecticut, into second position.
Well, George Lindemann was just yelling and coaxing Larry 326 over the Liverpool, and he got the job done in a bit of an unorthodox fashion. But look at how well the horse cleared the fence, just grazing the top pole for a clear round and moving George Lindemann into second place.
A look at the leaderboard in the 1992 Esso Challenge. Will Simpson sits at the top, 72.46 the time to beat, $45,000 in prize money up for grabs. And we see a lot of our great American riders dominating the standings right now. Our next Canadian on course in the Esso Challenge from Aldergrove, British Columbia, Desiree Ellickson. She's aboard Notaris, and this combination trained throughout the winter in Europe, gaining some valuable experience. Let's see what they can do today to challenge our leaders.
Desiree, a young professional rider, working with the great Canadian equestrian team member, Laura Beliski, and her husband, Brent. And they found this horse as a young horse and have developed him into an international horse. Still needs a little more experience, but I think we'll see a lot from him in the future. Great sound as these riders are encouraging these horses. 33 seconds at the halfway mark. She's right on the money. A second behind Will Simpson and Exact. She's going to have to hustle now a little bit. Get the turn. Put the pedal to the metal now as she comes down the last line. Desiree Ellickson from British Columbia has a shot at the Esso Challenge. The time to beat, 72.46 seconds. Oh, she's not going to catch him, but she's going to be in the prize money with a terrific round. That puts her into third place.
The crowd is into this combination. That's Notaris and Desiree Ellickson, a 25-year-old rider from Aldergrove, BC, and she is happy with the performance of her teammate. Will Simpson leads the way in the Esso Challenge aboard Exact and looking to make it 1-2 now with his second mount of the competition. This is Atem with Will Simpson of Santa Ynez, California.
Now Will has a great advantage. He's been around the course. He's in the lead right now. There's only a few more horses and riders, although they are the best, coming behind him. This horse, Atem, is one of his young horses that he's looking to bring up to Grand Prix levels. And you can see this horse has tremendous power and loves to clear the jumps. He's very careful. Very lucky as well.
She's a 10-year-old Hanoverian mare, but she doesn't look like some of the more traditional Hanoverians we've seen in the competition today. She's a lot more refined.
Very athletic and a very careful jumper, and he's right on his own pace there with a 32-second intermediate time. Super turn there after jump number 9. 4 fences left. Will he catch his own time of 72.46 seconds? Oh, lucky at 11A and 11B. And he's got it. Look at that. Will Simpson has got the 1-2 positions in this Esso challenge. What a great round.
He's having a day, isn't he, Nancy?
Oh.
Will Simpson leaving the international ring, undoing the headgear aboard Atem. As we look at Jonathan Aslan winding up his thoroughbred teammate, this is the 15-year-old Ogo Pogo. And this horse, having a rail at the Stars and Stripe fence, has plenty of speed. Now, if Jonathan can keep the speed bridled, they can get over some of these larger obstacles out there today.
Well, you see, the problem is when you watch or have a horse like Will's Atem go ahead of you, you know you have to go for it. And often you put so much pressure on your horses that you'll catch an early rail. So Jonathan Aslan and Ogo Pogo are carrying 6 penalty seconds as we head down to this tricky Liverpool fence.
Now, this is a horse that Jonathan's just had for about 3 months, and I know that he looks down the long term and thinks that this horse can really be a player in the Attaché stable plans.
Whoa! Just flying over jump number 9. He's really trying to catch up the time and make up his 6 seconds in penalties, but it might be a little too fast as he just hurtles down to 11A. Whoa, 1 jump left, and Ogo Pogo, great! Through the finish and a fast time of 72.15. He's got 6 seconds in penalties, but that moves Ogo Pogo into 6th place.
What a great trip for Ogo Pogo with Jonathan Aslan. That will be their biggest event together here in the Esso Challenge, and they look right at home, moving into 6th position on our leaderboard. As the plot thickens in the Esso Challenge, this Canadian will challenge the top. They've been to the winner's circle twice already at the North American Championships. Kiko and Kim Curtin.
This horse loves to jump high over the fences, and Kim really needs to keep the enthusiasm and spirit of Kiko contained so that she can make the turns.
Very careful mare. This is a Canadian-bred horse with a little bit of Percheron blood in it. She's cruising around this Esso Challenge right now, looking like they'll challenge the top of the board.
Oh, lucky rattle, and look at the intermediate time, 31.5 seconds.
The crowd encouraging Kim Curtin and Kiko into the water jump.
I'll tell you, that 6A-B combination is lucky. Look at this turn as she gallops on down. Look at this horse. She's in a flat-out gallop to jumps number 10.
She told us she gave up competitive riding seriously. I don't really believe her. Kiko coming home.
And the time, look at this time, under the 70-second mark. And the great Canadian crowd goes wild as Kim Curtin on Kiko, 68.36 seconds. An astounding performance, and is this young woman happy with her little mare? Turns to 5AB, the road jump. Look at the horse clearing the fence way up over the jumps. And then a very lucky approach. Coming down flat out gallop as she hits 11A. 2 strides and gets up over 11B, and this horse is just flying. She left out a gallop stride, only took 3 strides to the last fence. Might as well be on the racetrack.
A look at our leaderboard in the Esso Challenge. Kim Curtin sitting at the top, 68.36, the time to beat. Will Simpson having a great afternoon as well in second and third, and looking to change that will be our New Zealand thoroughbred. Fletcher Challenge, the second entry of the Team Spruce Meadows group of horses today, with Linda Southern Heathcote.
Linda making the inside turn, which was needed, but it's a very difficult turn, and she seemed to land over jump number 2 and just kind of let down and not keep the horse going around the turn.
Now she's really got to get the Esso Extra in her tank, as there's no faults for a refusal in this competition, but the clock keeps running, and New Zealand thoroughbred Fletcher Challenge has the work cut out for her now.
Mare's jumping very well. 40 seconds though at the halfway mark. Pretty disappointing the way Linda had the problem at jump number 3. Good turn there after number 9. Now she's going to have to hustle. Again, Linda riding a little bit too easy maybe through that 11AB combination. It's a long distance, and she just kind of sat and let Fletcher Challenge take the 2 strides a little easy. Didn't put a lot of pressure on her to jump up over the oxer. So she has a penalty there.
Disappointing trip for Linda Southern Heathcote on Fletcher Challenge as they finish up at 87.56. Peter Breakwell, as we move down the order in the Esso Challenge, is next up aboard Cantini, and this is a 7-year-old Holsteiner stallion, one of these heavy-going horses. This horse has a lot of mass, a lot of weight to pack around this course, but Pete Breakwell says it's a very handy horse for its size.
It's a handy horse, but one would tend to think this will be more of a Grand Prix horse. It's a big jumping horse. He's very careful, and you can see as he kicks out his hind end, the way he finishes his jumps is the mark of a great horse, not necessarily a speed horse. And that approach at 6AB, catching up, he's about 3 seconds off the leader's intermediate time. Making a bit of a grunt over the jumps, huh? He's a big, heavy horse, as you said, Ian. Look at the way the turf's getting chewed up around that turn at jump number 9.
It's funny the way the ground conditions have held up here at Spruce Meadows with such huge amounts of rain and putting some 1,000 horses across this course over the North American tournament. Over 560 horses entered it, and coming across the finish line, one of those entries, Cantini with Peter Breakwell of Redwood City, California.
Total score of 84.1 seconds. And that's not good enough to put Peter Breakwell in the top 5.
Some of the heavy hitters still to come in the Esso Challenge, and we'll be back with more of the action right after this. Welcome back to Spruce Meadows. A look at our current standings in the Esso Challenge. Kim Curtin looking to make it a hat trick in the speed events here at the North American Championships. Will Simpson as well having a great day, sitting in second and third position, but here's the man. Hap Hansen aboard Wizard. They've won this competition before, and they're looking to round this course with a total score less than 68.36. The Hanoverian stallion Wizard with Hap Hansen.
1990 winners of the Esso Challenge, this combination. They know each other well. Hap, one of the best speed riders anywhere in the world. Riders often talk about Hap as being almost like a computer when he gets on his horses. Oh, and he had to take the chance, he had to take the risk on his approach to shave off the seconds, but it didn't pay off, catching a rail at 6A.
Hap goes about his business so quietly and matter-of-factly, you wouldn't think he's really going very fast out there, but it'll be in his mind to try and shave the 6 seconds still.
Super turn after jump number 9 there. Very efficient and smooth. Keeps the ground speed flowing. Oh, and Wizard made a good effort over jump number 10.
Carrying 6 seconds in penalties.
Great running time of 72.2 seconds, giving him 78.2 in total. Have a look at Hap now as he heads down to 11AB, last 2 of the last 3 fences on course. Beautiful technique by both horse and rider, textbook riding. Hap Hansen and Wizard, former winners of the Esso Challenge, but not fast enough today.
Mark Laskin looking to put the Maple Leaf on the leaderboard in front of or behind Kim Curtin. He's aboard Katja. This is a very talented Dutch-bred mare. Mark Laskin, an excellent rider in the speed classes.
Very careful horse. You see the way she jumped up high over number 2, and he's got the inside turn. Now, that's where he could make up some time because Kim Curtin and Kiko went around the fence between 2 and 3.
68.36, the time to beat. Mark Laskin on course with Katja coming into the tricky combination.
And let's check the intermediate time, 32.43. Kim Curtin was at 31 seconds. Oh, and the rail comes down at the Liverpool.
And Mark knew. He looked over his shoulder in midair. Something didn't feel right going in, and it's something you wouldn't see Mark normally do. He normally just forges ahead.
This mare's really jumping up high. She's wasting a lot of time in the air, actually, because she's jumping so well. Great running time. Would have put him into second place, but he's got the 6-second penalty for a total of 77. Coming down to the Liverpool. Now look at Katja. She puts a little bit of a hesitating step as she leaves the ground. It catches up with her, and watch her front legs clear it, but her back legs clip that pole, pulling it down for his 6-second penalty.
Just hesitant to run on down there. So she just got there a little long. We'll definitely let her down.
Thanks a lot.
George Lindemann on course now, and this is the last entry that can threaten our leader, and Kim Curtin must be walking on eggshells because these two jumped off in a speed competition earlier this week, tied to the 100th of a second. This is a bound with George Lindemann.
And that's it. There's no way that George in a bound can catch and make up 6 seconds worth of time on this Esso Challenge course. And it is Canada's Kim Curtin on Kiko that has won $15,000 first place prize money. Now George wants to keep going because the prize money goes all the way down to 10th place. Oh, he can't make that turn there after jump number 9. That's going to cost him more seconds. Coming down the last line now, George Lindemann a little disappointed. He's got a great running time as he goes through the finish in 71.77 seconds. Add to that 6 seconds of penalties, and there's our winner, Kim Curtin on Kiko.
If Rob doesn't throw his hat in, they said a hat trick.
Kim Curtin of Canada and her little gray mare Kiko taking home $15,000 today for a total of $35,000 in the 2 tournaments this year at Spruce Meadows on this mare. Will Simpson of the United States having a great day as well, and we'll be back with more from the Esso Challenge at Spruce Meadows right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the international ring, completing the hat trick at the North American Championships, the champion of the Esso Challenge running on Esso Extra today, Kim Curtin of Georgetown, Ontario, and Kiko. Just an absolutely phenomenal trip around this track. Did you think you were up to it coming in through the clock tower?
I knew I was. At jump 7, I thought it's all mine. And she had Esso Extra in her today.
She certainly did all week, as a matter of fact. Third time to Victory Alley, and I'm very pleased to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Doug Baldwin on behalf of Imperial Oil to make a presentation to our champion.
Thanks very much. Kim, on behalf of Imperial, all our dealers, all our employees, and all the members of the Imperial family, it's with real pleasure I give you this trophy today for the Esso Challenge. Wonderful.
As we'll be watching the maple leaf go up the flagpole in celebration of Canada 125, Kim will be able to take something else back to Georgetown, Ontario with her.
Kim, a little something to put in your pocket to take with you. Keep that horse full of Esso Extra. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
A check for $15,000, ladies and gentlemen, the first prize share of today's Esso Challenge. 46 horses started, a tough field. They've been tough all week, but your mare's been up to it.
She loves Spruce Meadows. So do I.
Well, Kim, those are very kind words, and I would like to invite to join us now here at the Victory Circle, Mr. Frank King. Familiar face to Calgarians, Canadians, and sports fans around the world, and the president of Canada 125 celebrations. Mr. King, a presentation to our champion.
Thank you very much, Kim. It was a courageous ride. All Canadians are very proud of you today. As you know, it's a very special year for Canada, our 125th birthday. So on behalf of the Canada 125 Corporation, I'm very pleased to be able to present you the one and only keeper, the Canada 125 trophy for your great victory here today. Congratulations.
Congratulations to a worthy champion, a fine crystal, one of a kind, magnificent piece of crystal, ladies and gentlemen, now being presented to Kim Curtin. A very delicate piece.
I just want to thank the sponsors for a great day.
Thank you for making it a great event. The Esso Challenge, your champion once again, ladies and gentlemen, Kim Curtin and her teammate Kiko.
So fitting for Kim Curtin, the young Canadian woman from Georgetown, Ontario, bringing Canadians from coast to coast great pride in her tremendous efforts with her great little gray mare, Kiko. Kim Curtin, like greased lightning round the Esso Challenge course, breaking the 70-second barrier in record time, a time of 68.36 seconds. She takes home $15,000, the beautiful Canada 125 trophy. And now on behalf of Ian Allison and Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown, this is Nancy Southern saying so long from Spruce Meadows.
BZ Madden's from the United States. She won the last speed competition at Spruce Meadows. She has the edge. Brazilian Rodrigo Pessoa finished second last time. Second is never good enough. He's out for revenge. Leslie Howard's all about speed. She'll be the fastest, but penalties sometimes cost her. Today, she's looking for payback.
Not far from the Spruce Meadows International Ring, a look at the majesty and magnificence of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. They act as the backdrop for Spruce Meadows, where visitors from around the world come to play in this wilderness playground. Today the focus, however, is Spruce Meadows, where the likes of Howard, Madden, and Rodrigo Pessoa are on the most wanted list in the Canada Post Xpress. Horse and rider against the course, against the clock. And here's a man surely to be a pre-event favorite, the reigning world champion, Rodrigo Pessoa. Hello and welcome to the Spruce Meadows North American Show Jumping Championship. I'm Ian Allison along with Pollyanna Hardwick-Brown as we look at the champion conversing with the course designer here at Spruce Meadows for the North American Championship, Leopoldo Palacios of Caracas, Venezuela.
What a test he set today. This is a speed competition, which means faults don't count other than their penalty seconds. You get 5 seconds for every fence knocked down. You're allowed 2 refusals. It's just time taken, but if you have 2 refusals, you're eliminated.
A sun-drenched crowd here at Spruce Meadows getting ready to watch the pre-event favorites who are coming up in the draw here in the Canada Post Xpress. BZ Madden will lead off the trio we met at the front of the program, formerly riding out of Wisconsin, now basing operations in Cazenovia, New York, with her husband John Madden. Next in the string of international show jumpers, a new face for BZ Madden in the international ring. Authentic is this nifty little bay horse. Allison Firestone leads the way. 97.13, and that was with the rail down, so the running time was just over 92 seconds. Let's see if BZ Madden can move to the top of the standings. Being a little careful in the front part of this course where some of those related distances have caught people who were maybe a bit too casual.
Ian, really as the showdown goes, BZ Madden is in a unique position because she knows Allison Firestone's time can be beaten if she goes at about the same pace as Allison went and leaves all the fences up. She won't get a 5-second penalty. She also knows she has Rodrigo and Leslie Howard behind her. And frankly, she'll be aware that those horses can go faster than Authentic. So she has to start putting the pressure on them. She has to lay down a time that they'll have to chase and perhaps cause them to make mistakes.
97.13, the time to beat. That was with those 5 seconds you alluded to that came down for Allison Firestone right at this fence.
BZ Madden is such a technician. One thing about BZ is she gets this horse to the perfect takeoff spot every time. Even though she's making the turns, she gives this horse a real chance to leave the fences up.
The crowd senses a potential change on the leaderboard. It won't be of flag, but it will be of rider as BZ Madden of the United States jumps a clear round. Masterfully done. Let's see if that strategy pays off, Pollyanna. 93.66 seconds.
That was a great round. Well ridden, given that Authentic maybe doesn't have quite the ground speed and wastes a little time in the air being careful. However, now she's put the pressure on. A great ride down the bank. She never lost any time there. She kept going forward, jumped that vertically perfectly.
BZ Madden leads the Canada Post Xpress. Richard Spooner will be next to challenge the standings here at Spruce Meadows. Mixed results aboard this gray thoroughbred Bradford here in the international ring. One thing we know about this combination, they have speed. Do they have the jump and balance to get things done today?
Well, Ian, Richard Spooner is certainly a colorful rider. There's a lot of animation on top of the fence, but the interesting thing about him, despite all the movement, he seems to manage to stay out of the way of the horses, and that's really the most important thing.
Looking to let Bradford get his job done today onto the road jump or the tabletop.
That was an interesting way to ride the tabletop. He actually wanted to add the stride, and that's exactly what he did. He was adding the stride so he could get the turn. He felt that taking the 3 strides would take him way past the tabletop and he might lose valuable seconds on the turn. That's an experienced rider.
Really trying to keep Bradford on the bridle, not wanting to flatten out by carrying too much speed.
There you saw a little bit of the movement. Richard Spooner's very animated when he rides.
Just lost a stirrup as he heads towards the road jump here.
But what he's done is he's got those turns. He's carrying a very fast running time. As long as he can leave the fences up, he's going to challenge BZ Madden.
I think the crowd is sensing a challenge here as he comes on the final 50 meters of the course. Nicely done across the finish line. A new leader in the Canada Post Xpress, 93.07. From the East Coast to the West Coast we go for the U.S. to take the lead here at Spruce Meadows.
And you can see Bradford really helped Richard Spooner out. I talked about him moving a lot on top of the fences, but he manages to stay out of his way. He comes in just 0.5 of a second faster than BZ Madden, but that's all that counts. Now he's acting as the spoiler in the showdown.
He is, but that's the type of incentive that Leslie Howard, our next entry, really grooves on. Richard will make his way through the clock tower here at Spruce Meadows, and I'm sure we'll be sensing what goes on in the stadium here as he cools Bradford down. Leslie Howard next to go aboard the Swedish-bred stallion Nick of Diamonds. There's a look at the great veteran of the USET. With a gold medal Olympic effort at the '84 Games, continued on with a silver in the Atlanta Games, former World Cup champion, has laid claim to virtually every piece of hardware here at Spruce Meadows, and this horse is something else in this type of competition.
Well, I can guarantee she's going to have a faster running time than Richard Spooner. The thing is, sometimes she gets going so fast that poor Nick of Diamonds can't get out of the way of the rails. He's just too flat. So the key will be, can she go fast but leave all the fences up?
93.07, the time to beat. Second from last to go. This is Leslie Howard.
If you want a lesson on how to ride a speed competition, I can guarantee this is the one to watch, because she will make all the turns and she will go fast.
She was a little bit concerned walking this course, the number of left-hand turns that Leopoldo Palacios has served up. This stallion turns better to the right, but right now he's charging full bore ahead onto the road jump.
Right there, Ian, you can see she put 3 strides on that tabletop, didn't have to worry about getting the turn, because this horse can open its stride up and still make the turns. Look at that turn.
Barely coming out of the shadows.
You can see she can open him right up. She gets the turn right back to this vertical. She is flying.
Now, whether or not she should balance this off with a little considered play, that's not the Leslie Howard way, however.
This is just a fantastic round.
You've guaranteed us the fastest running time. I know she wouldn't want to let you down, Pollyanna. Here she goes over the Riviera Gate and to the top of the bank.
Well, right now, Richard Spooner's hoping she knocks these next 3 fences down, because she's guaranteed to have a faster running time, and even with penalty seconds, she's going to move into the lead.
One obstacle to go. 93.07 leads the way. It's been obliterated. There's a look at the leader at Spruce Meadows. 86.87. Wow.
That is just phenomenal. Rodrigo Pessoa's really got his work cut out for him. I don't think he can catch it, but he'll give it a try.
And she has so much fun doing it. She's got the laser vision on, she's focused, she's concentrating, totally in her element, however.
Look at this last fence. She doesn't even mind if she knocks it down, even with 5 seconds. She's still going to move to the top of the leaderboard. Richard Spooner, he knows a job well done.
What are you going to do? Leslie Howard aboard Nika Diamonds. Let's see if Rodrigo Pessoa is going to take it lying down. He, with this mare, Gandini Bianca d'Amore, has enjoyed great success around the world. Off they go. Big challenge.
It is a big challenge, Ian, because the problem Rodrigo runs into is this horse doesn't cover the ground as fast as Nick of Diamonds, and that's going to cause him all sorts of problems. She turns very quickly. This is a very turny course, so that might help him out, but you can see she wastes time in the air. Nick of Diamonds just is so fast, not only on the ground, but across the fences.
Well, an early rail will most certainly deal them out of the gold medal podium today, but Rodrigo Pessoa is also chasing not only the medal podium here, but the valuable world ranking points. He does not want to fall in his status worldwide. Canada Post Xpress offers many of those because of the level of competition, the venue, and the amount of prize money at stake here today, so Rodrigo will keep it going.
You can see this horse really turns. That's where he could have made up the time. She does waste some time, as I said, in the air, but that's where she may have caught Nick of Diamonds. But when Nick of Diamonds goes so fast and doesn't have any penalty seconds, really it becomes a matter of impossibility of trying to catch him on the ground.
Well, we've just passed Leslie Howard's running time with one obstacle left to go. A very solid effort, however. If you look at that, with the 5 seconds in penalties, Rodrigo Pessoa had a running time of 91.68, would have put him into second position. All for naught.
All for naught for sure. The day really belonged to Leslie Howard. She was 7 seconds faster than Richard Spooner, who finished up in the silver medal position. Leslie Howard is standing by with Ian Allison.
Ladies and gentlemen, today she put an exclamation point on the Express part of the Canada Post Xpress, and she galloped to victory from the United States of America, Leslie Howard. Showing us why she is the #1 ranked woman rider in this sport in the world. And everyone thought you were kidding back in the international warm-up area earlier today when you said, I think this can be done faster than 90 seconds. No one else did it. What was your secret, Leslie?
Well, he's a phenomenally fast horse, and actually Alison Firestone was pretty close. She thought I'd be 85. So I let her down a little, I guess.
Well, you'll have to get her back next time. Nonetheless, all the rails left in the cups. You were a little worried about all the left-hand turns out there. How did this stallion respond?
Yeah, actually, he doesn't turn left well at all. But I think he's so fast across the ground that he makes up for the lack in the left turn. Well,
we could have broken 80 maybe if you had a left-hand steering column on him, but now it's with a great deal of pleasure I introduce you to the Honorable Andre Ouellette, President and Chief Executive Officer of Canada Post Corporation, who took in the action from the center of the ring. Your impressions of the competition today?
It has been quite an event, and indeed I'm very pleased to be here. I think, Leslie, that you qualify to be one of our best letter carrier. You deliver so fast that we're very proud of you, and congratulations for this Express victory.
She put on a clinic for all of us today, rounding the international ring in record speed, and now she gets the delivery from the President of Canada Post Corporation.
Indeed, it is a pleasure on behalf of Canada Post to present you this check, and also our best wishes for your career for the future.
$22,250 to add to her immense career earnings here at Spruce Meadows, ladies and gentlemen. And just as importantly, as I take this back in trust, Leslie, as I've done many times on your behalf, I will invite you and Monsieur Ouellette to step forward and hoist the Canada Post Xpress, a beautiful crystal trophy struck specifically for this event, bearing some of the names of the great horses of all time. And now we will add Nick of Diamonds to that, ladies and gentlemen, with Leslie Howard of Westport, Connecticut.
Welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters, and this afternoon we'll be featuring highlights of the...
And he got in bad trouble there. He lost his stirrups.
Whoa! Well, problems in the triple combination.
At Spruce Meadows, it's important to manage risk. Speed, balance, aggression. If properly managed, the rewards are significant. Today, risk management is front and center in the TD Cup from the Spruce Meadows North American Show Jumping Championships. Are you ready?
I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
In 1975, the dream was spawned, Spruce Meadows. Now, 40 years later, Spruce Meadows has firmly taken root as the world's leading venue for international show jumping. Athletes from 60 nations have competed here, dreaming one day of coming through the clock tower and perhaps leading the Spruce Meadows Victory Ride. Today, the pursuit of those dreams continues in the TD Cup. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows and the Spruce Meadows North American Open Show Jumping Championships. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by John Garner. Ideal conditions at Spruce Meadows for a pretty special event.
Ideal conditions, Ian. Finally, the temperature has cooled off a little bit. It has been smoking hot here all week on the grounds, but the TD Cup winning round, it's right there out in front of us, getting ready to take part, and it's going to be a great competition.
An interesting concept, the winning round. The best have advanced to have a chance to compete today.
Well, you talked about it, Ian. They've all been qualifying all the riders through the week to get into this competition. The winning round formula, it is a bit of an interesting one. I'm a big fan of it, quite frankly. Think of it as two table A speed competitions. So you negotiate the first track, designed by Santiago Varela from Spain, actually from Madrid. And so you negotiate that first track, and the top 10, only the top 10, the best score will come through to the winning round. Now, if you do get faults in that first round and you make it into the top 10, the faults are wiped out and you get to go again.
Santiago has been a first-time course designer at Spruce Meadows during the North American Championships. He's done a very good job.
I think he has done, Ian. It's not an easy place to come build for your first time. We know that, and especially when you've been on the European circuit where the rings are quite different. The international ring is a beast all of its own, but I think he's done a good job.
Prior to the competition, the athletes have an opportunity to inspect the work of the course designer. We had a chance to catch up with them prior to today's competition.
Well, I think he starts you off very well on a nice vertical, roll back to a nice oxer, technical line, triple bars, short six, long one stride, and then an option to go inside or around to the Liverpool. The triple combination is very careful on the side of the grandstand, depending on the time allowed, and then obviously the mighty skinny at the end, three stride, a little bit long to the oxer. So it's a little bit spread out everywhere. I think it's a fair course.
8, 9, 10 is right on the middle stride. It's either a 4.5 or it's either a very forward 4 or a very short 5, and then the next stride is either a very long 5 or a very short 6. So that's when before coming to the skinny, which is the most careful round. So I think that's going to decide either you're going to clear the skinny or not.
Yeah, I think always in these winning round classes, it really boils down to speed, and I think that the course designer has sort of set you up to have to take a lot of risks, a few inside turns, one to the Liverpool. I think having an experienced horse there will go a long way. You have to go inside, I think, after number 10, and the problem with this class is even if you go clear, doesn't mean you get in, so you have to kind of put a little bit of pressure with the speed, and I think that that's going to be actually the hardest part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tough course.
I think the difficult part it's the double of it's the oxer 5 for 4 strikes. You have to be really quick in what you're making if you're going for 4 or steady 5. It's a winning round, so you also have to go fast so you can be there, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
Spectacular conditions at Spruce Meadows with the Alberta Rocky Mountains acting as the backdrop of the international ring here, and we are ready to get underway with the TD winning round. 10 have advanced to return with clear scorecards. Reverse order of go from their first round performance, so basically based on time. There you can see the fastest of the clears put in by Rodrigo Lambre of Brazil, who will be last into the stadium. Second round course, John, it's a new test.
It is a new test, Ian, but same rules apply basically. Go quick and clear. You know, you just got to think of it as a jump off.
This is where the likes of Nick of Diamonds used to shine in the international ring. 380 meters, 9 jumping efforts. 57 seconds our time allowed. 10 left to go at Spruce Meadows.
Juan Jose Zendejas riding this stallion Heros, owned by Elan Ferda. Just started riding the horse actually right before this tournament, so very new mount for him.
11-year-old stallion carrying the colors of Mexico is first to go in the winning round. This is where we'll find out that speed limit you mentioned in round number 1, 2, John. Some will push it.
I'll tell you, so far I really like how Juan has attacked the course. He's not been shy. Nice line through there. Could have been a little more straight. Ended up changing his leads a couple of times. That does slow the horse's forward momentum down. But so far I like his track.
Bending it to the home stretch here over the final
Nicely
auction.
done.
That is a terrific way to start with 9 chasing you. And he is a happy young Mexican, Juan Jose Zendejas, aboard Eros. Nice start.
Yeah, it really was. You know, I mean, not a lot wrong with it. In the end, I mean, he's not going to be quick enough. Nice turn. Look how quickly that last fence comes up right by the in gate. They've narrowed up the width of that oxer. But yeah, he's every right to be happy. It's a lot of pressure coming in first with all these top riders coming after you. There's Elan. Congratulating the jockey. My sense is now we'll get an idea of what the running time might be.
We shall see a little more forward ride as Derek Cresswell-Clough gets the drive-by salute from former Olympic champion and crowd favorite Eric Lamaze coming in with Rosanna Duparc. Such a useful horse, one that has been a great addition to his stable. And today he will look for her to cruise around the international ring in a time faster than 49.89. But you've got to stay clean. This is where the balancing act comes into play, of balancing speed and control.
Well, and that's why I think Juan Jose did a really good job in. He got the clear round. He gave Heros a chance to jump the jumps, but he wasn't overly slow.
10-year-old mare under the guidance of Eric Lamaze as he goes to the spur.
He is already moving quick. Really using a stride down here. See how much smoother he was there, Ian? She just stayed on that right lead canter all the way through.
Full 2.5 seconds up at the midway point. Now, manage.
This is going to come up so quick.
He cuts the quarter and he cuts it too tight, and it is costly because look at the time at 44.97.
That's incredible.
What a trip around the international ring, a full 5 seconds faster than the current leader, but that's academic.
It's like he started at the second jump. That is absolutely incredible. Paid the price for it at the last, but you know what? That's the sport. You take your shot, you take your chances. It's a blind turn right through that corner.
A tremendously fast trip around the international ring by Rosanna Duparc. Of course, Eric Lamaze up in the tack too, as we go to Georgina Bloomberg with Lily. I expect this to be a little more tempered as the 11-year-old mare gets underway with Georgina Bloomberg, but we will find out if she has Leslie Howard type laser vision when it comes to jump offs.
There's no one alive that has that kind of approach to it in. That's not really Georgina's makeup. Let's have a look here. She's gone all the way around Stonehenge there. And she's not going to be even in the ballpark of Lamaze's round.
She's taking your philosophy. Just keep jumping clear rounds here and you'll do just fine moving up the world rankings, getting well paid and playing with the big dogs.
A little over a second behind the leader at the halfway mark. There's not a lot of time to make that up unless you really get going. Now she's gone outside and around again to the last. Really only interested in leaving the fences up. Look at that. She's 5 seconds slower than Zendejas. So do the math. 10. Can you believe that? 10 seconds slower than Lamaze.
Isn't that a length of a bull ride plus 2 seconds? Anyway, she's ahead of Eric Lamaze, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
We'll go with the bull ride and you can't get your hand out the rope. That's incredible.
There is our leader in the clock tower here, as Brian Morton of Canada is enjoying success here in the international ring at Spruce Meadows, and doing so, we're so used to seeing him with Spitfire over the last few years, and unfortunately Spitfire passed away earlier this year after a great international career and some early retirement. This is Atlantis, the 10-year-old Dutch warm blood, with Brian Morton of Canada. Brian's one of those great stories too that's able to compete against the best in the world without ever leaving his base in Western Canada.
Well, we've got a bit of a hybrid line there from Brian. He's inside Stonehenge, but outside the Beijing wall. Really not carrying the ground speed either. He's plus 3 seconds. You know, it's such a different level of pace in the international ring on the weekend in the jump-off events. All the winning rounds like this is.
Again, another round 10 seconds slower than that posted by Eric Lamaze, and certainly 5 seconds behind our current leader, Juan Jose Zendejas, who has the clear and quick.
Well, a lot to be happy with for Brian Morton. Atlantis give him a really nice day. Double clear around the international ring. You know my feeling on that. There's the leader still. He probably can't quite believe it.
Every time out, he moves one further spot up the standings as now the great Venezuelan veteran and a rather aggressive and fast rider, I might add. Paulo Barrios comes in aboard Leandra. He is hungry. You know, that's the thing about these veterans. They're not going to release their grip at the top of the sport easily.
No, no, no. And that's how you get to the top, not by letting go of things. Now for Barrios, I wonder if he actually saw Lamaze's round. They all talk in the hitching ring. He'll have had somebody at least watching it. So maybe he's thinking he doesn't have to go quite Lamaze speed, but if he goes like reasonable quick, he should be fine.
This mare has a few more miles on her than Rosanna Duparc as well. Big strided horse. See how he cuts inside here. Yes.
It's about keeping it smooth. All the way through there, you keep your eye focused on the center of that jump, on your takeoff line, and he's up by a second. Just encouraging Zara there to take the bridle, keep moving forward now, square up a little, give her a chance.
A chance he gives her across the finish line. He just about missed the finish gate. Talk about getting your tip inside the last pole. 47.95 takes Venezuela to the top of the standings. I think he left a little on the table though as well, knowing who's still to come.
Well, a little up there on the Rouen Cathedrals, but I think if you're Paolo, you say, you know what? I did what I felt comfortable doing. No point going crazy at this stage, just that little bit faster, almost 2 seconds. Now those coming after have got to go step it up another notch. You can't cruise around now, you've got to gallop.
Well, we should see some speed with our next entry. 17-year-old Juan Pablo Gaspar Albanez. We're into the youthful portion of this winning round. Next two entries on course, teenagers, so just finding their way onto the international stage. This is the youngest of the two, Mexico's 17-year-old phenom.
Really all about keeping your composure and apparently getting your prayers right. Just making sure everything's all in check there. Getting the revs up and off we go. Drop inside, have a look at that turn. Keep your eye on the jump and attack.
Great turn there.
This is a fence you can attack, triple bar. And now the straight upright. Now you got to go. That was nice, Ian. But he's up on the clock.
Look at this, 1.3 seconds to play with right now. Ooh, dodges out there.
Down.
The horse looked like it ducked to the left a little bit at the combination there. Lost its balance a little bit, perhaps. Doesn't much matter when you pull a rail right now.
Oh, that's tough.
Look at the time, 45.21 for the 17-year-old from Mexico.
That might have been enough, Ian. Let's have a look. As he just comes in, he dodged off to the left. I'll tell you what, that is the case of a horse being in the game. He knew where he was going and he cheated the turn a little bit. Paid the price, but it's a little hard as a rider there to get too much on your horse.
Paulo Barrios checking the times, a little bit of disbelief. He knows they're coming fast and they're young. And here comes the next youngster in the group, Cara Chad of Canada, who recently changed her training regime to fall under that of former Olympic champion Eric Lamaze, and we have seen her pick up the pace at which she attacks this sport now.
That would be the biggest single difference. She's always been a brave rider. She's not afraid of a challenge. But she has definitely found that next gear. We'll see what coach has to say now. Already I like that approach. A little bit wide there, but she's keeping the engine going. Holy moly, Ian. Look at that.
This is a forward attacking approach.
She ran it like a pony. This is bang on. She is going to be right in there. Look at that.
Balance into the combination now. The Canadian leading the way.
Ooh, she got by with it. Juan Pablo didn't.
Don't look back.
This is a great ride. She leaves the last one up. She is going to be doing it.
The final fence now to the finish line. Cara Chad of Canada goes to the top of the standings, much to the delight of her coach, Eric Lamaze, who she just skyrocketed above in the standings.
What a great ride. All the way round from start to finish. She put the hammer down, and then to making that last turn. A fabulous mare. Give her a real shot. Look at that. You think he's happy?
Tiffany Foster and Eric Lamaze, leaders on the Canadian side of this sport, have just welcomed a new star in Star and Kara Chad into the fold. Let's see if this potential dream can be dashed. McLean Ward would like nothing more than to take it from the teenager. And he started off promptly, as you'd expect. Double H Carlos, his useful horse.
You'll just see this is a bigger challenge in. I mean, he's so quick already. He will not be hanging around. Right through, let's see. Oh, half a second. And you know he's going to keep coming. What a fantastic ride. One to go.
Checking a bit here, inside corner, over he goes.
Oh,
down it comes. Disbelief on the face of McLean Ward. Double H Carlos eats up the international ring, but he has the final rail in 44.05.
Second and a half quicker. Let's have a look through here. He had the spot. Maybe a little bit of a gap. Carlos just didn't quite finish behind. Hard to do, in fairness to the horse, off of that pace, off of that turn. Look at that running time. 44 seconds.
Bit of a sigh of relief on the Canadian teenager who's in the waiting game on the on-deck circle as we move to Chile. Couscous, ridden by Sammy Parot, next to go. They were blazing fast in the first round. Let's see if they can keep the jumps up and this time down.
Well, isn't that the challenge for these last two coming in? Samuel here and Rodrigo Lambre. You have to think, if you're Kara Chad just dodging McLean Ward, you probably feel that you've dodged the biggest challenger. But these two riders on their day, every bit as good. And for Couscous here, I think this course sets up nicely. It's a big, long galloping track. Should be able to use the step here if he can keep it smooth. He's got to keep coming. He's balanced a little bit. Let's have a look at the halfway mark. He's up.
Third of a second in play here. Get the corner.
Just drifted a little bit on the right-hand side of that double. Oh, it's come down.
First time we've seen it today. And a pair of them for 8 jumping faults. The time is irrelevant at 45 and change. 2 rails down for Chile.
But interesting for me, Ian, we've seen a couple of riders, McLean Ward as an example. He was up by a half a second at the halfway mark, ended up gaining over a second more in the latter stages. Samuel actually went the other way. He was up at the halfway mark and then lost time.
Then there was one. Will it be Canada or will it be Brazil? Rodrigo Lambre, last to go. Top qualifier to advance to the winning round. He needs to go clear in the time faster than 45.55.
Well, he qualified last because of his quick clear round. But in my mind, his clear round, the speed of it was based out of just being smooth and efficient. I'll tell you what, pal, you have got to just flat out gallop.
Well, let's see what this 9-year-old mare can do. She'll need to go quickly. Nice corner. So far, pretty good.
He's hustling along, but I wouldn't say he's at a flat-out gallop like Chad was. Oh, he snuck in an extra step there.
Wait,
He's close. He's close.
Will the second half pay off or be costly?
Drifted wide again. He came in on the left side, ended up on the right side. That's wasting time getting down the end here. He's going to have to really fly here, Ian.
Ooh, a little
he's
slow,
going to have to keep going.
Over the final fence, he's clear, but no, he's not fast enough. 46-32. And there is the look of a young winner at Spruce Meadows in the International On-Deck Circle.
Well, I have to tell you, Ian, as a young rider there in that situation, winning a competition like that, but in that style, full marks for the victory.
And when she looks down the line, it'll be something she always remembers. That is, who is standing down the line in the placings from her. Reaching the summit in the international ring at Spruce Meadows, Cara Chad of Canada.
Yes.
Well, a fantastic performance for the young Canadian. And we are going to have a look back at how everything unfolded in the international ring here at Spruce Meadows in the TD Cup winning round. The top 30 horse rider combinations qualified to start out the day, and Santiago Varela whittled them down to 10, coming back for the winning round. Mexico held the early lead. Juan Jose Zendejas. Venezuela took it over with Pablo Barrios and Zara Leandra, until the young Canadian Cara Chad and Starla Tullier came in and threw down a trip of a lifetime. From start to finish, the foot was on the floor. Coach Eric Lamaze could barely contain himself. And what a victory. Perfect celebrations in the back with Mom Laurel, and there we go. The final leaderboard. Canada gold, Brazil silver, Venezuela with the bronze. And a great performance for Mexico's Juan Jose Zendejas also. Here is the champion, Cara Chad, with Ian Allison.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a spectacular day of sport at the Spruce Meadows North American Open Show Jumping Championships. Your winner in the TD Cup from Canada, Cara Chad. What an emotional victory for those of you that have watched this young girl who's still a teenager come up through the ranks. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, amazing. There's no feeling to describe it. It's incredible.
When you got up this morning, did you picture this happening?
I mean, you always picture it, but it's a dream. And it's a new mount, and she's such a fighter, and I'm so lucky for her to be in my string. So it's all thanks to Star. So
walk us through the winning round.
The first round definitely was big. We just moved up with this one to the meter 50. And it was a great first course. Very fair but tricky. You had to keep going, keep your time allowed. That's always important in winning rounds to make it back into the top 10. But excellent course. I had a good time.
You made it to the top 10. You made it to the winner's circle, and the man with the best seats in the house. Welcome back to Spruce Meadows. Derek Cresswell Clough, your impressions of the competition?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Last year was amazing. This year, I think, was even better. It was just an outstanding event. The performances were fantastic, a lot of incredibly gutsy performances. Cara's, I thought, was amazing. I love the way you took that turn just before the TD jump. Way to go, way to go. That was excellent. So, just a great competition all around.
She took her chances. She ended up in the winner's circle, and as you can see by those she beat, she's well deserving of the dividends you're about to pay. Derek?
Absolutely. Very, very pleased to do that. Cara, on behalf of our staff and customers, congratulations. Presenting you a check for $28,000. Whatever you do, don't deposit it at the green machine. It might not fit. But in any case, enjoy, congrats, and very, very well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, not bad for a weekend's work at Spruce Meadows. $28,000 as she starts her resume at Spruce Meadows in the international ring. And now, Cara, as you've watched so many times before, I'm going to invite you two to step forward and hoist this beautiful crystal trophy, symbolic of championship status in the TD Cup. Cara Chad of Canada, ladies and gentlemen, champion at Spruce Meadows.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We're so excited that we have so many of you here, so many new and familiar faces.
Welcome here to this beautiful day, beautiful event, beautiful venue. You know, it's really exciting for us to do stuff like this, and you know, this is what we thrive to do.
We're really excited to share what our culinary team can do and showcase it to all of you.
Tonight I wanted to do some different things that we could find locally. Also, we wanted to do some things that we found that you could only get very seldomly during the year.
Great Events has many faces. This is really our passion, doing these fun events, custom menus, things like that.
Thank you guys again for coming, and I hope you guys enjoy the food and the drinks and just good company.
Let us bring our passion to your event.